Hey everyone, and welcome to your ultimate negotiation masterclass. I'm your host, and in this explainer, we're going to translate some incredibly elite psychological strategies into your own personal playbook for dominating group dynamics. You know, as a career coach, I see exactly what separates the professionals who kind of just stall out from the ones who absolutely skyrocket to the top. And spoiler alert, it is not always about working harder. Actually, it's about understanding the hidden psychological currents running through every single interaction you have. So, let's be totally honest for a second. Are you tired of losing arguments, maybe having your ideas pushed aside, or just feeling overlooked? Whether that's in a high-stakes meeting or even in your personal relationships. The truth is, you are constantly being influenced by other people without even realizing it. Every decision, every task handed to you has this deep layer of psychology behind it. But today, we're flipping the script. We are taking the exact tactics that might be used against you and putting the power of persuasion directly into your hands. All right, let's dive right into Section 1, Building Your Core Arsenal and Mastering Control. We're going to start with the foundational skills you absolutely need to survive and honestly, to thrive in negotiations. Picture this scenario, because I know we've all been there. You're in a high-stress meeting, deadlines are creeping up, and a coworker just starts getting really aggressive. They're raising their voice, talking over you, making totally unreasonable demands. Now, your natural knee-jerk instinct is probably to react quickly, right? To get defensive or just argue back. But instead of falling right into that trap, you need to deploy our first tactic. The answer here is incredibly simple, yet devastatingly effective. Just pause. Use what we call the pause power. When that colleague gets aggressive, I want you to maintain direct eye contact and literally lean into the awkward silence. Do not say a single word. Human beings are psychologically wired to be completely terrified of awkward silence. So by holding that pause, you instantly force them to feel uncomfortable. They'll start doubting their actions, wondering what you're thinking, and mentally scrambling to fill the void. Without raising your voice a single decibel, you just handed the power right back to yourself. It's a real game changer.
Okay, moving to our next foundational tool, and this one is absolutely crucial for your social and professional influence, the power of because. A naked request, like simply saying, "I need a budget increase," faces immediate friction. It's just a demand. But a justified request, "I need a budget increase because it will double our ROI," changes the entire dynamic. We're leveraging the psychological fact that human brains are quite literally programmed to accept requests so much faster if a clear reason is attached. It satisfies our brain's intense need for logic, even if that reason is super simple.
To put that into perspective, think about the number 5,000. If a friend comes up and asks to borrow $5,000, completely out of nowhere, you're probably going to laugh and say, "No way." But if they say they need $5,000 because of an urgent, life-saving medical emergency, well, suddenly your brain processes that request entirely differently. The exact same rule applies at the office and in your relationships. Giving a clear because, whether you're delegating a task or asking a friend for a huge favor, dramatically increases compliance. You are literally feeding their brain the justification it craves.
So, let's build on that in Section 2, Advanced Framing and Shaping the Request.
Now that you've got the foundation of control and reasoning down, it's time to elevate your influence. We want to ensure your boss, clients, and even your friends always feel like saying yes to you. Enter the door-in-the-face technique. Now, this sounds counterintuitive, but it is pure psychological genius. Step 1. You intentionally present a massive, highly uncomfortable request first, because you fully expect Step 2, the rejection. Why do we want a rejection? Because it perfectly sets the stage for Step 3, your real, actual goal. Once they've rejected the massive ask, your true, smaller goal suddenly seems like a totally reasonable compromise. Let's look at a concrete example of this. Say you want a $300 raise. If you go in and ask for $300, your manager is probably going to try to negotiate you down to, say, $150. But if you confidently pitch an astronomical $1,000 salary bump that gets a swift no, the whole dynamic shifts. You retreat, give a little sigh, and say, "Okay, well, what if we just did $300? Suddenly, your true target looks incredibly minor and highly acceptable. You win the negotiation just by setting an artificial anchor. And honestly, this works beautifully in your social life too. Ask a friend to help you move your entire house, get the no, and then ask them to just help you move the couch. Works like a charm.
You can also completely bypass resistance by using the illusion of choice. This involves presenting two distinct options to someone, both of which secretly lead to the exact outcome you want anyway. This is a phenomenal tool for dealing with stubborn coworkers, demanding clients, or even family members who always need to feel like they're the ones running the show.
Let's say you desperately need a coworker's help to hit a deadline, but you know for a fact they usually brush off direct tasks. Instead of asking, "Can you help me?" You pivot and ask, hey, for this project, would you rather draft the report today or analyze the campaign data by tomorrow? Whether they pick option A or option B, they feel this complete sense of freedom and control over their workload. But the reality, they are unconsciously agreeing to help you on your exact terms. You've basically handed them the steering wheel, but you built the road. Moving into our third and final section, leverage and value in building your long-term brand.
Look, winning a single negotiation is great, for sure, but cultivating an undeniable aura of value within your company and your social circle, that is how you build lasting influence. In my years of coaching, I constantly warn my clients about something called the Franklin effect. This happens when someone gives you a small, free, unprompted favor, purely to create a psychological debt. Their real goal is to extract a massive favor from you later on. If a colleague is constantly bringing you coffees or doing tiny tasks for you out of nowhere, keep your guard up. They're establishing a baseline so that when they drop a massive project on your desk, you feel way too guilty to say no. Spotting this tactic early is how you keep your control.
On the flip side of that, you can massively boost your own influence by cultivating scarcity. Human psychology dictates that we value what is hard to get. If you're always overly available, instantly replying to every single Slack message, taking on every menial task, your perceived value actually drops. Instead, subtly show that your skills and your time are in extremely high demand. Casually mentioning that another department is asking for your input naturally forces your current bosses to realize your unique value. It's a gentle reminder that you're an asset they really can't afford to lose.
And finally, let's talk about selective information. If you want to be treated like an executive, you've got to fiercely protect your professional brand. That means it's time to stop oversharing your personal life, your weekend drama, or your anxieties at the water cooler. When you explain a project, just explain what's necessary. By maintaining a little bit of professional mystery, people will naturally fill in the blanks with their own assumptions of your high competence. Just watch as your confident, private, and focused presence starts commanding extreme respect from leadership and peers alike. So, you now hold the executive playbook. You know how to utilize the terrifying power of the pause to command respect. You know how to wield the power of because to gain instant compliance. And you know how to use the illusion of choice to bypass a stubborn no. And remember, these aren't just office tools. They are the literal keys to social influence in all of your relationships. The real question I have for you is, which of these psychological power moves are you going to deploy first tomorrow? Pick one, test it out, and watch just how quickly the dynamics shift right back in your favor.